Good morning, good morning, good morning. Starting to see you guys popping in. Absolutely fantastic, absolutely fantastic. This is wonderful. And you know why I say this is wonderful? Because I'm consistently seeing the same people. Guys, I need some feedback. Can you give me a thumbs up or can you put a message in the chat box that you can hear me? You can all hear me okay? Phil, you can hear me? Perfect, perfect, perfect. So how's everyone doing this morning? How is everyone doing? Phil, you're shaking your head. That's not. That's like you're not good. Manuel, good morning, sir. Mr. Celestino, how are you? Great, great, great. Rita, Bonnie, Richard, my usual people. How is everyone doing? How is everyone doing? I've got a great session planned for today. And it's funny how things happen. Things happen sometimes accidentally based on feedback, and that's what I actually love. Oh, is it your birthday today, Rita? Happy birthday, happy birthday. If I could sing, I'd sing you happy birthday, but you know what? I'd probably spoil it for you, so I'm not going to do that. Happy birthday, I'll take it. 29 again, Rita? Clearly it must be. Tammy, how are you? How are you? Wonderful to see you. Guys, as I said, I want to talk based on a little bit of feedback I got. One of my lovely students sent me an email and she asked me to touch on a topic. So I'm going to do just that. And it's to do with, but first, before I even touch on that topic, I need to know, who's fed their mind this morning? Who's fed their mind this morning? I want brutal honesty. Tammy, thank you. Mr. Celestino, Mr. Brenham, Mr. Ogilby, have you guys fed your mind this morning? That's the importance.
Yes, I'm ready, man.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But Richard, what I need to know is, I know people nourish our bodies, but have you fed your mind this morning?
Yes.
Beautiful, absolutely wonderful. Phil, I saw you shaking your head. I'm not going to chastise you. You know what you need to do, sir. You know what you need to do. Alexander, have you fed your mind this morning? Alexander, are you with me, sir? Maybe Alexander can't hear me properly. I don't know. Anyway. Mr. Celestino, you just got up. Well, in that case, you know what? I'm going to help you feed your mind. How about that? Oh, wonderful, wonderful. But as I said, I wanted to kind of touch on a point. One of my students sent me an email. Bonnie, thank you for this. And she wanted to talk about, or she wanted me to delve into decision making. That's the grasp I got from the email, because sometimes we are fearful and we don't know what to do. And other times we lack patience. We kind of dive into a situation. But decision making, it is all intuitive. I'm going to repeat that. Decision making, it is all intuitive. Yes, of course, you're going to take care of the due diligence and you're going to look at the logic of a situation. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, your decision making is all intuitive. You have to trust your intuition. You have to trust your judgment. I've spoken about this before. I've mentioned that your intuition is literally your unconscious mind telling you what your conscious mind is not quite aware of yet. Let me give you guys a fact. Successful people, do you know what they do? They make decisions very, very quickly, and they change their minds very, very slowly, because they trust the decisions they've made. They have this internal dialogue, and it's aligned with who they are, and they listen keenly to their internal dialogue. And what they've got the knack of doing is not second guessing it. Because guys, I'm sure you've noticed that every time you actually second guess yourself, afterwards you think, oh, why did I do that? It was the right decision the first time. When you overthink things, you will usually talk yourself out of the right decision. I found that happen many, many a time. So I no longer second guess myself. When my intuition goes with a decision, a gut instinct, that's what I run with. If my intuition tells me I need to hang back, I need to be patient, I listen. But I've learned to become very decisive about what I do. Funny, is this helping? Is this making sense for you? Because I know some of us, we challenge ourselves. Oh, am I making the right move? And that's because we haven't reached that level of confidence in our own decisions. When we get to that point of confidence in ourselves and we truly trust our own judgment, we don't second guess at all. It's almost as though something just flows through us and we know we're making the right decision. But that comes with time and that comes with practice. But that also comes with mental stimulation. It's all connected, guys, because as you start to grow as an individual, you become more confident naturally because you are stepping outside of your comfort zone consistently. You are facing your fears. Your fears are no longer a barrier for you. Your fears all of a sudden start to become a catalyst and give you that kick. You realize how to do things. You realize that there's no need to be frightened. Because as I said, when you second guess your decisions, it's usually because you're unsure of yourself, not anything else. You're not logically going to make a decision if you haven't got all the facts in front of you. You're not logically going to make a decision if you haven't got all the relevant information, because that just doesn't make sense. That would be a crazy move. But when you have got all the information, you have to go with your gut, because that is your intuition. And when your gut tells you it's time to hang fire, listen to that. But as I said, successful people, they make decisions quickly and change their mind very, very slowly. They are decisive human beings. And I think one of the reasons behind this, my personal opinion, is that they've got a more in tune belief system. Their belief system allows them to feel confident with what they're doing. It's no coincidence that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It's a generational thing. And I'm going to explain to you why. Your belief system is created. Alexander, I'm going to mute you there because you've got a little bit of background noise going on, sir. Your belief system is created between the ages of 0 and 8. I've spoken about this also. When you are in that mind pattern called Theta, it's almost as though you're in a hypnotic state. And let's think about this. If you're a young child growing up in a wealthy environment where, for example, your parents and your influential people, i.e. family, friends and relatives, they're all either very successful or they're all business owners, you see that as the norm. You learn things from them at a very early age when you're in that hypnotic state. That's what developed your belief system. Therefore, in a lot of instances, and I would never generalize and say all, but in the majority of instances, that's why they grow up and they've got good habits with money. They've got a good understanding of business, because if that's what you've always grown up around and certain language has always been spoken around you, if you're in a wealthy environment, the likelihood is you're never going to hear your parents say, I can't afford that. If you ask for something and you get told no, there will usually be a rational reason behind it, but it won't be related to not being able to afford it in a monetary fashion. So you won't develop those negative thought processes with regards to money and I can't afford. Consequently, you always grow up with positive beliefs around money, positive beliefs around business. That is, it's just what you know. You see that as a norm. When people are going to work and getting a job, you almost think, well, why am I going to get a job when everyone around me employs people and creates jobs. Naturally, I'm going to use my incredible mind, because we all have an incredible mind, to develop a business or develop a system where I create jobs. I'm not going to go and work for anyone. My parents have never worked for anyone. My father's been very successful. My uncle's been very successful. My dad's friends are all very successful. That becomes the norm to you. That's why the rich get richer. And on the flip side of the coin, when you are brought up in a working class family, maybe on the lower end of the scale, you hear a lot of negative talk, negative language with regards to finances. Oh, I can't afford that. What do you think money grows on trees? Who do you think I am, Rockefeller? all of these phrases get thrown around and you hear them as a youngster. Therefore, you develop negative language, negative belief systems around money, and you grow up and you pass these habits on. It's just how it works, guys. You know, it's an unfortunate situation, but unless you are aware of patterns and unless you are aware of habits, this is just what happens. You know, generations, unless they consciously break the chain, will pass on habits from generation to generation. That's why wealth isn't measured in money, guys. Wealth, the true measure of wealth, is if I stopped doing any money-making activity, how long could I live and sustain my same lifestyle? So wealth is usually measured in time, and that's why they call it a generational thing. That's why the phrase old money came around, because it's passed down through generations. But the beautiful thing is we now have things like the internet, where entrepreneurs are springing up from here, there, and everywhere. People are being brave and they're following their dreams and they're acting in spite of fear and realizing that, wow, I can actually do anything I want. Because when you've got that belief in yourself, as I said, you start to build your confidence. Your confidence acts like a muscle. You create new synapses, connections in your mind, and it just is an evolving cycle. These things happen. I want to ask, guys, in my mindset video, in that email, you all received a link for the secrets of the millionaire mind. If you're not on video, please put it in the chat box if you've been reading that book. If you're on video, give me a thumbs up if you've been reading that book. Okay. Now, the reason why I ask is because unless we change our habits and our patterns and our behaviors, the unfortunate problem is, Phil, in the mindset video, there is a link, and it's a link for the secrets of the millionaire minds. Manuel, same thing. In the mindset video, in the mindset email, there is a link to a book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. It's absolutely critical that if you haven't read it, you read it. And if you've read it again, and read it again. I want to use that book like a manual, because I've explained this also, the way the human mind works, you cannot tangibly take on all the information in one sitting. You can read a book a second or a third time. And I heard a beautiful phrase from someone the other day. It's almost so that, as though new words have been put in the book that you certainly didn't spot the first time around. As I said, that's because the human mind can only take on so much information at a time. The reason that book is so incredibly important is because we need to understand what our financial blueprint is. And our financial blueprint, going back to what I was just talking about, will have been developed based on your childhood, based on how you've grown up. Because ultimately, your belief systems is created based on your environment, based on the people you're around. So if you come from, let's say, a working class environment, what you need to do, and I'm going to say need, you need to change your thought process. You need to change your blueprint, your financial blueprint. You need to do what's called increase your financial thermostat. And the reason why you need to increase your financial thermostat is quite simple. In business, it's never ever how much money you make. And if I've said this once, I've said it 1,000 times. In business, it's never how much money you make. It's how much money can you keep. Because let's think about it this way. How many times in your employment life have you been employed and you get a raise, and you might get a substantial raise, or you change your job and you've talked yourself, you've negotiated yourself into a good new position with a good raise, and 3-6 months down the line, you're thinking, how are things still so tight? And I've just changed jobs and I'm earning considerably more money. How is that possible? It's because 90% of us live to our means. Listen to my language. We live to our means. So even though you've now put yourself financially in a better position, you start spending more because you believe, oh, I've got some more, I can spend a little bit more. And it's because you haven't worked on your financial blueprint. You haven't adjusted your financial thermostat. So the more money you make is the more money you spend. You increase your lifestyle based on your income. And ultimately, all that will do is keep you in the same cycle. It will keep you trapped. You know, people, they earn more money and then they buy more material things. They live a slightly more lavish lifestyle. And that's because they are still working for money. They are still trading their time for money. It's only when you really, truly understand that money has got far more stamina than you ever will have. Money can work 24/7, 365, right around the clock. And when you take on board and you understand how to make money work, things start changing. That's where they bring in terms such as passive income. That's where you get an understanding of assets versus liabilities. And I know I'm probably, to some of you out there, speaking a very, very common language, but not everyone's on the same page. So I just want to kind of break it down and make it simple. When you start investing your money in assets as opposed to liabilities, what happens is your money starts to become active. Your money starts to do what money's supposed to do. I was speaking to my mentor the other day. In fact, he was running a meeting and he gave an incredible analogy. He spoke about the fact, how many times, for example, have you bought a loaf of bread and the loaf of bread is coming to the expiration date? What happens when the loaf of bread comes to the expiration date? Tammy, I'm going to take your boot. Good morning, Tammy. How are you doing? Oh, Tammy, your headphones or something's not working. There we go. I've got you now, Tammy. Good morning, Tammy.
Great.
Right. So, Tammy, when bread comes to the expiration date, what happens to the bread?
It molds.
Okay. And it
rots.
It gets rotten, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was speaking to my mentor the other day. As I said, he was holding a meeting and he gave me the most incredible analogy. He said, his money in the bank, as far as he's concerned, has got an expiration date.
Mm-hmm.
If his money's not working for him,
Mm-hmm.
he considers it to be going moldy, sitting in the bank, rotting away. He gets a report every single day from his accountant telling him how much liquid cash he's got so he knows how much he can consistently invest. Those are the money habits we want to start developing. Thank you for your feedback, Tammy. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the money habits we want to start developing. We want to start understanding that your money's got an expiration date on it. It doesn't literally, but if you have that thought process, you're not going to allow your money to sit down and do nothing. Because when your money's sitting down and doing nothing, it's not working. And when we understand that we put a system in place to make our money work for us, what can? Oh, sorry. I had to laugh. I don't know if everyone's seen the comment in the chat, but Rita's put, if you remove the air from the bag, it lasts a month. Rita, you know what? That's wonderful, but that defeats the object of what I'm saying. We don't want it to last a month because we want to understand that our money needs to work for us. When it's sitting down doing nothing, it's not fulfilling its obligation. See, money, let's think about this now. I keep talking about we live in an energetic world. Everything is based on energy and vibration. Do you guys therefore think it's a coincidence that money around the world in different locations, it's called different what? It's called different currency. And is currency not a form of the way they describe electricity? And electricity is what? Electricity is energy. So once again, it's not a coincidence that these terms are used. Has anyone ever thought about that before? Give me a thumbs up if you've ever noticed or you've ever thought about that. Okay. Pete, you can just sit down and just listen, sir. I knew there's absolutely no way you would have thought about that. You just tip your hat. Pete, when you've been a successful businessman for a long time, I know I'm preaching to the choir right now. But as I said, money is currency. It's energy. And because of that, you're not supposed to sit down on your money. Money's supposed to move around. Because if you don't allow your money to circulate, it becomes stagnant. And let's think about water on a pond that is stagnant. It starts to smell bad. It starts to almost have that kind of rotten scent. This is the same thing with money. Money is currency. It's supposed to flow. You know? Yes, absolutely correct, Bonnie. If the money stops moving, it's got no value. And a lot of people think that money can either be positive or negative. No, absolutely not. Money has got no energy in that respect to be positive or negative. It's the use of money that's positive or negative. You know, it's what people do with money. Money itself isn't evil. You know, money's the root of all evil. I bet it was a broke man that said that saying first. Yeah, money's the root of all evil. I've never heard such nonsense in my life. And in actual fact, my beliefs might go against the grain, but I believe it's the lack of money. Because if you look at in the impoverished areas, if you look at the poverty-stricken locations in the world, that's where all the crime is. You don't get crime in Beverly Hills. Well, apparently Beverly Hills has got the most police circulating in any part of the world. So of course you're not. But my point is, where there is money in abundance, you don't get crime. Simply because people don't need to resort to criminal acts because they have money. So it's the use of money that creates a negative or positive impact. But the reason why, once again, as I said, I refer to the secrets of the millionaire mind. If you guys don't change your behavior, if you guys don't change your habits and your patterns with regards to money, you're going to build a business and you're still going to be a slave to the money. The money will not circulate, the money will not grow, because as you increase your financial thermostat, the whole purpose of this is to allow the money to come in. You then create habits that allow you to nurture and grow your money. You don't just act as a conduit for the money to come in and flow straight back out. Who wants a business like that? You're not going to benefit. Yes, money's supposed to circulate, but if you have a strong business, you want money to grow with you while it's circulating. As it comes back around the block, more of it's coming around the block, and then you allow it to circulate and move. And the last few minutes, I just want to touch on problems. Okay, Gajanan, you're speaking about, can I give you suggestions on how to get rid of laziness and mobile addictions? Laziness comes from the fact that you haven't prioritized things. Because let's think about it like this, and I mentioned this previously. If something is very important and you need to get it done, you always find a way. When it's very, very important, it never is a case of you not getting it done. If something was life or death, Gajanan, you wouldn't be lazy, you'd get it done. So what you need to do in order to get laziness out of your mind is, first of all, you need to develop self-discipline. So you need to develop habits. You need to become habitual. And also, you need to change your priorities with regards to the things that you're procrastinating over. What you need to do is make them more important. And as Rita said, yes, it can also fall down to nutritional deficiency, because if you're not feeding your body as well as feeding your mind, you become tired, you haven't got energy. So of course you need to feed your body. I would have thought most of us understand, if you don't feed your body, of course you're going to run on empty. It's just like a car. A car can't operate if it's got no fuel. So you have to feed your body. But in order to disrupt your habits and your patterns, you have to change your priorities. The things that you're not doing that you know you should be doing, you need to really sit back and think about the level of importance behind them. You need to change how you're thinking about those things. And mobile addiction, unfortunately, that's a scenario a lot of our younger generation are falling into. That's why there is such a shortening and a diminishing of people's attention span. That's a whole nother call. How sad is it, and I use the word sad, when you go into a restaurant, and I love to watch people, and you see people sitting at a table and they're on their cell phones. They're not even attentively talking to their company. I can't understand it. When I go out with anyone, my phone is on silent and it's in my pocket. I don't bring my phone out unless we decide to capture the moment and take a picture. When I go out with my kids, or should I say my young adults now, because my youngest is 21, when we go out, there's a rule. I don't want to see your phone on the table. And you know, I've actually kind of brought in a penalty system. If someone brings your phone out, dinner's on you. So fine, if you want to bring your phone out, make sure you brought your wallet out too. That's fair play, right? If you bring your phone out, you pay for dinner. Because if we're together, if we're taking the time to spend and enjoy each other's company, I actually see it as quite rude and disrespectful for you to take your phone out. Because I'm here with you. Whoever's at the table have taken their time and chosen to be here with you. Whoever's on the phone, in terms of a message or a call, they can wait. You can deal with that after. If it's life and death, of course. But if it's not life and death, you know what? Please don't do that. Unless you fancy paying for dinner. It's on you. Once again, it's choices, right? We all have choices. But as I said, I really wanted to touch on problems, but there's only 2 minutes left, so I'm not going to start on problems now because I need to really delve into that properly. But once again, that's touched on in The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Problems. Bonnie, I love that. I love that. If Bonnie's phone is ringing, it's a money call. You know what? Those calls are allowed, Bonnie. Those calls are allowed. You excuse yourself politely and you go and make that money. But on the flip side, and this is what I want you to understand, on the flip side, you have to take time out. Yeah? You have to take time out. So it could be a money call, but you should have segmented that time for your family and your loved ones. So even that money's got to wait. Because you know what, once again, we can't be a slave to the money. We can't allow money to dictate the quality of our life. The quality of our life should be dictated on how we spend it, who we spend it with, and the thoughts that go through our mind. Guys, I so enjoy these calls. I really, really enjoy these calls. I hope you guys get value from it. I hope you guys can see that I enjoy giving to you. Guys, what I need you to all understand is, as I tell you every single day, all can and will be achieved one step at a time. And if you guys are committed to yourselves, you know I'm committed to you. And I'll be here on this same bad channel tomorrow. Guys, have an incredible day. Have a wonderful day. Go out and win. Be successful. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Take care. Make it a great one. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.